Hi, I'm Jeremy Robinson and this is the 19th hole. Hi, I'm Jeremy Robinson and welcome to the 19th hole Black Star Golf podcast presented by glal.uk. As I mentioned previously, through my years of being involved in golf, I've met some great people. So far during the podcast, we've had quite a laugh with our guests discussing the ups and downs of golf. And I'm sure today will be no different. So today I'm delighted to welcome one of my long-term friends, and this guy really is a long-term friend from the amateur days as well, Steve Richardson. Steve's an ex-Ryder Cup player and a three-time winner on the DP World Tour. Steve, just back from Mauritius in some lovely weather and rain and typhoons and everything. How are you doing, mate?
I'm very good, J-Rob. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, it was an absolute nightmare, Mauritius. Brilliant tournament. It was ruined by the weather. We got absolutely washed out and everything. It was unreal.
And how many holes did you actually play?
I managed to play 12 holes, but I probably went on and off the course about 6 or 7 times.
So quite tiring.
So I got soaked every single time. I was running out of socks and tops and everything. Trying to dry them was an absolute nightmare.
So quite tiring for you playing 12 holes in 3 days then?
Yeah. With my fitness level, that was quite a lot. Yeah, I was starting to worry. The 3 rounds is obviously getting quite stressful these days. As you know, buddy.
Yeah, no, I know exactly. Yeah, so there you go. So anyway, as I mentioned, you're a DP World Tour player, a fantastic golfer, 3-time winner on the DP World Tour, and played in the famous Ryder Cup in 1991, the War on the Shore at Kiowa Island. But just going back previous to when you turned pro in 1989, I've asked the other boys, really, how did you get into golf? I know your dad was a pro, wasn't he?
Exactly right. Yeah, I started playing when I was about 7 years old, but obviously he used to give me a club when I was a tiny little boy, you grip it cack-handed, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I was 7, I joined the club down at Leon the Solent, and I used to play a bit, but I used to love other sports as well, like football, rugby, table tennis. And then by the time I got to about 10, 11, 12, golf took over. I packed in the other sports and became obsessed with golf. But it was totally down to my father. He got me into golf as a golf pro, and he coached me for sort of my whole career till I was about 30, 32, 33 sort of thing.
Was he the pro at Leon Solent?
Yeah, he was a pro there for 35 years, my dad. Oh, wow. Yeah, so he was a good player. He came 13th in the Open, my dad,
really?
in 1970. Yeah, he played in the Open twice.
Wow, where was
that was one record I didn't manage to beat, was the old boys 13th in the Open.
I didn't realise that. Where was that played at then?
That was St Andrews when Jack Nicklaus, Doug Sanders had a playoff.
Oh wow, that's something going. I didn't know that. You learn something new every day.
Yeah, he was a good player. He had a better swing than me, but he had a fairly tough upbringing. Won a 7, plasterer.
Yeah.
And then turned pro when he was 25. He got down to scratch with no coaching.
Right.
But I wish I had my dad's swing, really. He taught me the Jack Nicklaus, Johnny Miller swing, nice and upright, weak grip, all that sort of stuff. I modified it myself, but that was the way to swing back then, wasn't it, in the 70s and everything when we were growing up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So just going back onto the amateur career, I mean, I remember playing loads of amateur tournaments with you, playing in the Berkshire, and it was back to the days of the wooden drivers, wasn't it? That's how long ago we're talking. But in 1989, you won the English Amateur at Royal St George's, beating a friend of ours, one of your local compatriots, Bobby.
Oh, Bobby, yeah, he's great. Yeah, in the morning, I went around in 64.
Wow.
I opened up in the final, birdie.
Yeah.
And I went around 64. He went around in 67. So I was only like 3 up at lunchtime. He reeled me in, but I was back to 1 up with 2 to go. So he played amazingly well.
Yeah.
I couldn't play any better. I was starting to bottle it a little bit.
Yeah.
And we got to 17th, hit it on the back of the green. I played the hole awful. I got it up there for 3 to about 15 foot. Hit this putt. Don't know how it went in. One of those hit it and it just goes straight in the middle. And he missed a yarder from me, beating 2 and 1.
Right.
I was on the way out. He sort of had me, really.
Yeah. So it was a hell of a match then. Standard sounds like it's fantastic.
Yeah, it was unbelievable in the morning. Yeah, we got perfect weather at Royal St George's, which helps. Obviously, it's a super tough course.
Yeah.
But I couldn't play any better. Turn out birdie in the final was unbelievable as well.
Yeah.
We got on the fourth tee and Bobby went to me, that's 180, mate. We just smiled. It was good though, yeah. He beat me in the county championship finals when I was about 18 at a place called Stoneham near Southampton.
Yeah.
So I got a bit of payback on him. Beat me up the last. I missed about a 4-foot putt. He did the reverse of what I did to him on the 17th.
So you played county golf with him then for Hampshire, did you?
Yeah, and played in the England team with Bob because Bobby was a top player. I think he won the Brabazon. He played with you in the Walker Cup, didn't he?
Yeah,
as
he
well.
played. He played in the 1987 Walker Cup at Sunningdale when I was playing.
Yeah. I remember watching it on TV. You and John McHenry playing great stuff and winning your match.
Yeah,
we got a bit of a chance in mind, didn't we, from their team?
We did, yeah. We got 16-8 or something like that. They had a pretty good team, and yeah, we just got. It was in the days when we just got kind of duffed up by them. Really, I won 2 out of 4, I might add, but
yeah, that's cool, though, mate. Yeah, you must be proud of that, aren't you?
Yeah, no, it was good. So it was good. So just moving on to that, then. So you won the English Amateur in '89, and
lost the playoff for the Lytham. I played in the Lytham. I lost to a guy called Neil Williamson.
Yeah,
and they tried the Open playoff they've got now. They tried it out at the Lytham, so I think it was a 4-hole playoff we had, I presume.
Right. Yeah.
And he opened up birdie, par, birdie, and I opened up something like bogey, par, bogey. So he absolutely hammered me in the playoffs. That year I should have had a great chance getting the Walker Cup. You know,
well,
second in the Lytham, won the English Amateur. I'd obviously upset someone along the line and messed it up, but never mind.
Yeah, I mean that was going to be. Sorry, go on. No, go on.
Yeah, but having said that, obviously the Walker Cup at that time is massive, isn't it? It's the greatest thing you can play as an amateur.
I was going to say that was going to be my next question. So if you'd won the English Amateur and obviously done well in the Lytham, etc., you know, you must have been unlucky not to have got in the Walker Cup team.
Yeah, I think I had a top 10 in the Brab as well, and I was a current England player, but also I didn't get selected for the 6-man team at, what's it called, the European Championship. So once you're not in that, you're pretty much not going to get in the Walker Cup.
Yeah, and that was
I don't know how I didn't get selected for that, but it's just one of those things.
Yeah, well, it was a bit different. There was no world rankings for amateurs or anything like that in those days. No, it was a bit.
They do need that. I think it should be run off an order of merit, shouldn't it? Results based, and with 2 picks rather than everybody getting picked. You know, it's a bit like the Ryder Cup.
Well, I think it's even more political with it used to be in the Walker Cup, because obviously there was the English, the Scottish, the Irish, the Welsh, and they all wanted each selector. There were 4 selectors, I think. Each wanted as many in as they could from their own country, which was fair enough. But it did get a bit. You
know, if we did it, J-Rob, we'd do it on merit of players, wouldn't we?
Well, that would
what we think are the best players. I wouldn't do it on nationalities. If it's 12 Welshmen or 12 Scotsmen or 12 Englishmen, I would select what I thought were the best players. I know, obviously, it's difficult to, because everyone plays in their own national championships, don't they?
That would be the common sense way to do it, but I think back in those days there wasn't a lot of.
It's more old school, wasn't it?
Yeah, there wasn't. So I think it's a bit better now. So, but anyway, in the end of the day, the Walker Cup, you know, when you're younger, it didn't make a lot of difference. It's nice personally for me to look back on it now and say that I played in it. You know, it was good fun. So, but moving on, so you turned pro in 1989. And the transition for you from being an amateur to being a pro clearly wasn't that hard, because in 1990, you know, you cracked on already and finished, I got it 29th in the order of merit.
Yeah, it was 1989, when I won the English Amateur. I got so confident. I worked so hard on my game, and I knew I hit the ball fantastic. And I sort of scraped through the tour school at La Manga, got 36th spot, didn't play my best. And then I got on the tour. I just felt super confident, really. And I went out there and I thought, well, I hit the ball better than most of these guys. I remember playing in my first tour event, which was Estella in Portugal. And I played with Sam Torrance and Des Smythe in the 3rd round. And bearing in mind, fantastic golfers, you know, some of the best we've ever had.
Yeah.
And I came 8th in that, one shot out of the playoff. They had a 7-man playoff, so I came 8th. Yeah, and I went home and I spoke to my dad. I said, Dad, I'm a better player than Sam Torrance and Des Smythe. He went, hang on a minute, son. You know, he's sort of drawing me back a bit. But that was my mindset then.
Yeah.
You know, I used to have such a vivid, excited, adrenaline mind with a calm body. You know, I could swing smooth. I could do what I wanted. But my mind was so like fireworks, pizzazz, excitement, that sort of stuff. And I used to just think, oh, I'm unbelievable. You know, I'm an amazing player. I'm good. I'm meant to be here. This is a great life. And I was enjoying the travel, going to Dubai. Meeting all our great players, you know, our top 5 players, all these sort of guys. You know, it was just a wonderful, amazing experience. You start living your dreams for a little while, and it doesn't get any better than that.
No. I mean, well, Linny was saying the other day about, you know, how he works hard on being mentally positive all the time, you know, and he felt that took him a long way. And it sounds like the same kind of thing for you. You were obviously riding away for confidence.
Well, you learn you learn from your mistakes as much as anything. You know, the things that go wrong, the bad things, and
it's interesting you
know,
say that.
even losing to you in '91 at the Kenyan Open, I learned from that. I thought, I'm going, that's going to spur me on, because I think you won it because I was so desperate to beat you, and that you can't be like that. You've got to play, as we know, one shot at a time. Play the course, not the man.
Don't worry about that. That's the next question. We're going to look at that one in detail. So, but just going back to what you were saying about, you know, you felt you were better and everything. And you know, I'm not just saying it, but you never really portrayed that to everybody else. You didn't come across as arrogant or anything. That must have been the inner belief, was it?
Yeah, it was inside. Yeah, because I remember Steve Davis was doing a thing. He used to talk to himself in the mirror and tell himself how great he was, how wonderful, you know, what a brilliant snooker player. So I started doing stuff like that. You know, I'm trying to think what they call it, NLP, basically, wouldn't you? Things like that.
Yeah.
I was just. But it used to excite me, and I used to think I hit the ball so good. I didn't play with anyone at that point who hit the ball better than me. And my logic was, I can hit the ball better than you. I putt okay. I'm okay at chipping back in those days. I thought, well, how can they beat me? And that was my mindset.
It's interesting. So,
but I was very excited about playing all the time. I'd be really nervous, really excited, and I'd turn it into good adrenaline, and then just feel really calm when I came to swing and hit the ball.
Yeah, well, I mean, you were a great striker of the ball back in still are.
Yeah, early on, yeah,
you know, when
4 years, yeah,
especially when it was wooden drivers and butter knife irons. I mean, there was you and Mark Davis. I felt, of the amateur kind of way, you know, the striking of the ball was a different league to a lot of people.
Yeah, but Mark had an amazing swing, didn't he? In fact, a big upright, turned off it, hit it miles, didn't he? He's not a big guy, but had so much power. But I didn't realise the shots gained with power. It was such an advantage when they're getting on the par fives, reaching some of the short par fours.
Yeah.
That's a massive advantage in golf. As they're portraying now, the boys are just massive power, great short games, aren't they? A lot of them.
Well, that's what I was going to say. In those days, the way we were taught really was to hit the ball straight and worry about how far it went later. Now it's hit the ball as far as you can and worry about hitting it straight later, isn't it?
I started, I think, from probably about 10 till early 30s. If I got a driver out, I hit it as hard as I could. There was none of this three-fingered swing it smooth. It was, I hit it, it's just smashed it, pick a target and smash it, and away it went. That's what I did.
Which was unusual, but not everybody felt the same, did they? A lot of people were.
No, you know, I overcome a lot of nerves with an aggressive attitude, attack. Yeah, I'm going to go for this. I'm going to reach the hole with the putts. Yeah. You know, I was as nervous as anyone and felt uncomfortable, but I just put this aggressive attitude onto it all the time.
Yeah.
And it stood me in good stead for about four years till I lost my technique a bit.
No, well, it did. So just moving on to what we were going to discuss at length, not too much at length from your point of view, but from my point of view, I want to talk about it forever. But the 1991 Kenyan Open, you must have learned a lot.
Oh, I did because I wanted to, because, you know, when we're amateurs, you're a better amateur than me, and I looked up to you and admired you and also wanted to beat you. And I thought, well, I'm going to smash J-Rob up today. And I think you hold a really good putt in the first, and I three stabbed, and it just went three putted, and it just went wrong from there. You know, things didn't go right. And you played brilliantly, but I was still in it, and I went and drove it in that bunker at 17.
Yeah,
and thinned it out of bounds. I was going to come second, came about fifth or sixth. So that was rubbing salt into the wounds even more, wasn't it? But you played brilliantly that day, and rightfully so. You won, didn't you?
Well, I remember being one ahead, and you, as you rightly say, I remember it well. I hit an iron, and you hit a driver into the front trap, and you thinned it into that bloke's garden. He's probably still got the ball now.
Yeah, it's got a smile in it. The ball's quite soft.
Oh yeah, it had a big hole in it. Trust me, when it went over the green.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But anyway,
didn't bounce in there. It flew in his thing. It landed in his pond or his barbecue, didn't it?
Oh, with that,
it was right in there.
Yeah. We weren't looking for the ball anyway.
No,
I wasn't laughing either. But moving on from that, so that was at the beginning of '91 in the Kenyan Open, and then the tour started pretty much straight away, and. Following on from your success in 1990, what a year you had in 91. I'm going to read it out. You played something like 40 odd tournaments. You played in the Ryder Cup, obviously. You won the Portuguese Open. You won 2 that year, did you?
Yeah, I won the won Girona Open, the first event of the year.
That's right, yeah.
Then I won the Portuguese Open. And obviously Ryder Cup, and stuff like that. And I played Side Glass, Dunhill Cup, and
5th in the USPGA.
I think I was for that one season. I was on the stats on the world rankings. I was the 11th best player. I didn't look that. One of my friends told me that.
Right. Yeah.
So around the world, I was the 11th best player, which is great. Which is one, something I'm really proud of. Second in the order of merit to Seve.
I was going to say, I've got that down. I mean, what an achievement that is. Like, what Paul Way was the last guy on, and he, we were talking about how Seve was a hero to a lot of people, including him, although he played in the Ryder Cup with him, partnered him. I mean, to finish second in the order of merit when Seve was in his prime, that must have given you some confidence. Boy,
yeah,
I mean, that's some going, that is.
Well, I was leading the order of merit for a while, and then Seve won the PGA and the Dunhill back-to-back weeks, and pretty much sewed it up. It was all over after that.
Yeah.
But he was a god, wasn't he? Seve, he's amazing.
Oh, yeah, but
the charisma, everything about him, the way he looked, he had everything, didn't he? Seve, he's just different class. People like him are heroes growing up, weren't they? Him, for me, Tom Watson, Greg Norman were the top three for me.
Yeah. No, he was just a fantastic player and a really good guy as well. So in that same year, I've got it. I remember you saying, how many events did you play that year?
I think I played, and I wouldn't never do it again. I played 40 in 91 and 42 in 92.
Wow.
And I don't know, obviously, I don't think that was a good thing now in hindsight. No. Maybe Burma's, but the only good thing I could say, I was playing my best golf and got as many tournaments in as possible, so you can make as much money and experience great things that go with it. But I had a patch where I was getting invited to so many good things.
Yeah.
Around the world, I was invited to the USA a lot.
Yeah.
I was invited to Australia, South Africa, and I took advantage of most of it.
Yeah. And you were the
in a good way, go and play. Yeah.
You were the fastest man to £1 million, weren't you, on the European Tour money?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that took me 3.5 years. The boys can win that in one tournament now, can't they? I had to rack some top tens and wins in there to get that back in the days. But.
And in that 91 season, I remember you saying to me, so you had 2 wins, and how many top tens did you have?
I think I had about 13, 14, but then I went to Australia, I had 3 top tens as well. So I had chances to win the Aussie Open, the PGA, I led with a round to go.
Wow.
Shot off the lead with Roger Davis in the Australian Open in 91.
Yeah.
I had a top 5 at USPGA, Crooked Stick, where John Daly won. Amazing. That was the way he travelled through, practice round, and absolutely destroyed the field.
Yeah. So that was 91. So, and 91, the highlight, or would the highlight be the Ryder Cup? Looking back at it, playing in it, obviously.
Not at the time, no. Yeah, because I thought, what am I doing here? I don't need this pressure. I've had a great year, and I felt a little bit uncomfortable. And that's what I realised about our players. You must embrace it, everything about it, and you must give your heart and your soul to the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
And I left about 5% out, and that was expensive because I won 2 out of 4. And I think if I'd given 100%, I'd have won at least 3 and maybe 4 out of 4 because I was playing so good back then.
Yeah. So moving on from that, so Paul Way, as I said, was the last person on here, and he asked me to ask you, you lost the Ryder Cup by a point, and you lost your match to Corey Pavin.
Corey Pavin, yeah.
I was actually going to ask you this question as well, because you've told this story a few times late at night in a bar. But what was it actually like to play against Corey Pavin, who was a lot smaller than you, and he wore those hats? And was he a nice guy to play against, or was he a trifle?
No, not in the singles. The thing about the Ryder Cup.
Rico, hey, I've just got to carry on with the questions. Way told me I've got to exaggerate this. Was he a friendly person to play against, and did you enjoy the match? And what was his feeling?
No. It still haunts me to this day. No, it doesn't really. But he was hectic. He was all over the place. He used the crowd. He used a little bit of gamesmanship. He put loads of energy on me, which I allowed and didn't sort of push any back onto him. And having said that, I admired his skill. He couldn't strike it at all. He's an awful striker, but he could fade it, he could draw it, he could change his ball flight up. He had so much skill, the boy. Yeah. And an unbelievable putter. That's how he won a couple of times. Say, for example, I was 15 foot, he was 12 foot, I'd miss, he'd hole, and that was the difference at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. But it was a very hectic match. And you feel lonely when you come to the singles. You're with your team, you've got a partner, and suddenly you're out there in that amazing, heightened, wild atmosphere. And you think, I feel a bit on my own. I'm with my caddy, but it's not like a normal tournament. It's just such a wild. The crowds. That was the first one that got really nasty.
Yeah.
And the energy was incredible, really. People shouting and screaming and going wild and all the rest of it. But what I wish I'd done with Corey is giving him back a little bit of his end. What he was doing, he was fist in the air, pumped up, using the crowd, getting very vibrant. Obviously at home, he hadn't won a point at that stage. And then once he won a point off me, he was an absolute thorn in our side of our team, wasn't he? The things he did, chipping in, pitching in, winning point. A tremendous player. But I didn't enjoy playing against him. I didn't like him at the time. I played golf with him a couple of times afterwards, and friendlies. He's actually a nice guy, but during that week he was very hectic. But then you'd play up. We played Mark James and myself played Mark Calcavecchia and Corey in the four balls the first day, and no one said good shot to anybody. It was hectic. It was awful, really. In some ways, it's the first time I've ever experienced that with pros. Yeah. It's a courtesy thing. You at least say good shot to each other, don't you? No one was speaking. It was a little bit strange in that front, but. It's amazing. I love watching it. And I think what our boys are so good at now, they embrace it, just let it come on and it's okay, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I saw some stuff from our superstars. They just give everything they've got 100%. And that's why I wanted to get back in 93 and play. And I came 14th in the list to make sure in 93 I gave 100% rather than 95. Langer missed the 6-foot putt of the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
But probably me only giving 95% cost us winning the Ryder Cup.
Well, I didn't like to say that, but that's what Weiwei said.
Yeah. Well, I know.
No, I'm really kidding.
Yeah,
I'm really kidding.
But I was scared. I felt scared there. I felt uncomfortable. At the start of the week, a lot of our superstar players stood up and said, "Have you got any questions?" And I was a bit shy back then. I never asked enough questions. Suddenly, I couldn't believe what the crowd was like. It's like a football crowd. It's just wild and chaotic and screaming and shouting and. Stuff you're not used to, really. You walk from a green to a tee and you felt like you're getting bombarded by people. They're shouting at the top of their voice, come on, or they're shouting for their player. It's like, what's going on? This is incredible.
Yeah, I remember.
Amazing experience afterwards when I look back on it. Yeah. The best, and the players I was with as well. Some of our absolute superstar players.
Yeah,
couldn't get any better, could we, than some of the guys that are playing in that team. We had an amazing time then. We had a great team, didn't we? With with Seve, Langer, Woozy, Nick Faldo, Ollie, Monty. That was his first one. We should have beat them, really. I think on paper, because we had the best team in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but I remember watching it on TV, and it was an amazing Ryder Cup. The war on the shore, as it were, wasn't it? And they all, they wore those caps, didn't they? And time, and it was. It almost got a bit, as you rightly say. I mean, I wasn't there, so I wouldn't know. But just watching on TV, it looked kind of nasty at times, And
it was J-Rob. It tipped over. It got hectic, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and then
they had a captain that was quite edgy because I'm trying to think. Steve Pate injured himself in the limousine, but he played in the four balls. And then once the draw came out, they took Steve Pate out.
Yeah,
and it changed the dynamics of the draw because Seve was playing great.
Yeah.
Then ended up playing against Wayne Levy in the singles. Dave Guilford went in the envelope to come out with Steve Pate.
Yeah.
So that Wayne Levy was having a horror scene and Seve was playing great. So our best player went against their worst player. So I think that made a big difference as well.
Yeah, Dave Stockton.
They should have withdrawn before the singles, shouldn't they, obviously?
Yeah.
Rather than wait till the draw to come out and then do that.
Yeah, I remember
But we had the momentum. I think we won 3-1 in the afternoon four balls to make it all square going into the singles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember talking to Gilly about it. It was a
Yeah.
I mean, he still says to this day, it's just such a regret that he didn't get a play in that single. Dave Stockton was the captain, wasn't he?
That's right. Yeah. It was not a nice guy, but he was playing. I think he was on the edge because at one point I think he could listen into our walkie-talkies the first couple of days in practice and things, but. That's what Bernard Gallagher said to us. So he obviously put a stop to that. But again, nice guys. The American guys, they love winning, don't they? Once they've lost a few times, they don't like it. So,
but it did get
they're great winners, aren't they? The American. Yeah.
But the Ryder Cup was getting a bit nasty, wasn't it? Because then there was the Brooklyn one, wasn't there? And they're all running on the green, and in the end, they kind of calmed down a little bit, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's still wild. Our players. Very animated now, just like the American players. So it's pretty even, isn't it?
Yeah.
When I played in that one, we were all a bit more decorum and calm, and a few guys were going wild, where all the players go wild now. It's great to watch.
Oh, yeah.
It's must watch TV. It's one of the few things I'll sit there 3 days and watch nearly all the golf.
Oh yeah, without doubt. I mean, it's a great spectacle, even if you're not a golfer. I mean, we're golfers, so we like watching it. But I think non-golfers like watching the Ryder Cup as well, because it's a team event, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think that's what
And
draws people to watching it. But it is a great spectacle now. There's no doubt about it.
oh, yeah. Well, it's one of the biggest things in golf, isn't it?
Yeah,
It must go around the world, I presume.
yeah, no,
People
it's
watch
fantastic.
it.
So looking back at it, you know, when you hang your clubs up for good and you sat in the armchair, a great experience all round. Obviously, to, as you rightly say, to have played in that team with those players, Seve and Langer and Faldo and Woozy and the Monty and the people who kind of built the European tour, didn't they? Player wise.
Yeah. Yeah, the good thing, we were able to keep those guys. They played on our tour.
Yeah.
Whereas now, obviously, all the best players go to the PJ tour, which is a shame, isn't it? We've lost them to an extent. And they come back for guest appearances. Where we in our day, we kept these boys and it made our tour. We probably had, in a way, we had a golden time to make our tour massive, wouldn't we? With those players, if we could have, commercially and everything. We nearly caught the PGA Tour up, but they've now gone to another level. It's incredible what they do in world golf.
Oh,
and a grip they've got on the sport. They've got all the best players in the world playing on their tour.
Yeah,
couldn't ask for more, could you really? Yeah,
no,
yeah.
No.
The Tiger Woods effect was massive as well, as we know.
Yeah. But as
he took the sponsorship to another level.
But as you rightly say, those players, you know, they helped with the European tour, but they also helped to make the Ryder Cup so big, and they won it so many times. And now the Americans, they obviously won the last one and they could win the next 2 or 3, but, you know, they had a lean patch with the Ryder Cup, and it was because of those kind of players, really. And then the likes of Poulter and Westwood took it on from there, didn't they?
Yeah, well, I think our guys were captains, weren't they? They all became captains. They were great at it, and their passion and the heart and soul and the fight, and it meant so much to them to win. I think at one point the Americans, they could leave it or take it. It was okay, but then we started winning, and obviously they start wanting to come back stronger. But that last team they had in the US was unbelievable, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And the way they played, and obviously we didn't have any fans, and that was quite hectic for our players. That was something else. But we took a trouncing, and as you said, I think we could be in trouble for the next couple if they keep putting those teams. But but home advantage is obviously big, isn't it?
I mean, you know, they were favourite. They were going to win at Paris National, weren't they? They're a great team. They brought over and everything, and in the end, they got absolutely stuffed at Paris National, didn't they?
Well, yeah. I told my mates, I said, get your money on the USA. Well, that was absolutely stuffers beat us easily at Paris National, and our boys were amazing, weren't they? Yeah, especially the first day didn't go to plan, obviously, and then after that, we're absolutely unstoppable, weren't we?
Yeah. So overall, a great experience for you. And then, along with playing in the Ryder Cup, you represented England twice in the World Cup, and you won the Dunhill Cup at St Andrews playing for England.
Yeah, I was in the team with Spencer and Gilly. Yeah, we beat the US. We qualified. Luckily, we lost our last game to Spain, but got through on the point system. And then we played the US in the semi-finals, and I beat Davis Love.
Oh wow!
And then and Gilly beat Fred Couples in front of me, so that was good. And we got in the final. We beat Scotland. We beat Monty Sandy Lyle, and I beat Gordon Brown Jr. Right. I was about 6 under, and then knocked out of bounds on that 14th par 5. I hit one of the pillars on the wall. Right. Ricocheted out. Obviously, it was going to draw back in. I think it was probably sliding out.
Yeah. And
I managed to beat Gordy, so that was great to win that. Amazing experience.
Yeah.
But we didn't. We were only young Englishmen. We didn't get that much publicity for that. I thought we should have got a bit more, really.
Yeah. But another great thing to, you know, you look at the pictures, to win a tournament at St Andrews must be such a thrill.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was amazing. Yeah, because my dad's mum and dad are from St Andrews.
Oh, right.
So I've got a lot of family up there. They're Scottish. Yeah. So
yeah,
it was lovely to be up there. I think a load of my cousins were there. A bit difficult for them there to cheer for England, and obviously they're Scots. We're playing Scotland in the finals. Probably the only time in their life they've cheered for England, I'd have thought.
Yeah. But I say two World Cups for England. Where were they played at?
Played with Nick Faldo in Italy, Rome. Can't remember the name of the course.
Yeah.
And typical of my luck, I beat him in the individual. How many times a year would you beat Nick Faldo? The stroke player. And then I've got him as a partner, and I scored it better than him. So it just about sums my luck. And I partnered Gilly, Dave Guilford at Moraleca near Madrid.
Okay, yeah.
They built a course on a recycling plant, didn't they? It was a good course.
Yeah.
Couples and Love won both of those, I think.
Did they? Right.
They dominated the World Cup for a little while, didn't they? Those two. They come over. They're such great players.
Yeah.
The best two hitters I've ever seen. Those two strikers.
Yeah.
They could hit with so much power, and they could bring the long irons out the clouds. Stop it next to the tight pins. When you go to the US and play, the pins are so tough. I know you played a lot of college golf over there, didn't you? So
I was going to say,
and they're so used to it. They're so used to hitting over water and tough shots over ravines and things like that. We weren't quite so used to that sort of feeling, with the pin cut on the extreme edge of the green over water and all these sort of things.
I remember seeing Davis Love when I first went to college. He's probably be about 58, 59. Davis Love, would he? A bit older.
Yeah. Nice guy as well. Very gentle, very, very calm.
Yeah, first college tournament I played in, I remember playing behind him, and I thought he looked amazing. Great player. Yeah. What a great career he's had.
Yeah.
So moving on, you German Masters as well. Was that 1992?
That was 93. That was
93. Okay.
That was the week after the Ryder Cup where we lost at the Belfry, and they had a lot of their team played in that. So pretty much both Ryder Cup teams were there, which was good. Tom Watson, my hero, was playing.
Right.
So I won that. I beat a great field. Yeah, that was my best win comfortably. With the standard of the field, you get guys like Ernie Els, Retief Goosen playing.
Yeah.
And loads of top boys, all the best European players. So that was a big win, that one. Obviously, it was a highly ranked event. It was good prize money as well back then.
Yeah,
got 100,000 first place. There's a lot of cash back in. Back in those.
It was a big tournament. As Bernard Langer's brother used to promote it, didn't he?
That's right, Owen. Yeah.
Owen. Yeah. And I remember it being a big tournament. So that was some field you beat then. If there was those kind of players playing.
Yeah. Because it was the weather was terrible and it chucked it down in the evening. I thought it'd be cancelled the last round, but I think because Bernard Langer was only a couple of shots behind, they moved a couple of tees forward, turned them into par 3, so we could get round. So I partnered him. It was great to win playing against him as well. One of the legends of our tour and still an absolute legend on the Champions Tour.
Talk about amazing feat. The bloke's 64 years old now, I think he is, and he's still just plays so well, doesn't he?
Incredible.
Yeah, he's just got an unbelievable drive just to keep on going. You can't see him stopping either. He just keeps on playing.
Why does he want to? 64 still travel around not around the world, but America's a massive country. All over the place, and still winning tournaments, still be competitive, still practice, still work out. He looks as fit as a fiddle still.
Yeah, he does.
Incredible, isn't he? His face looks a bit older, but his body looks just the same, doesn't it? When you
amazing. You can see why he's been so good over the years, because amazing ambition, as you say, just to keep on doing it. Now at 64, you'd think he'd want to be just like rocking up to the country club and sitting in the locker room.
Yeah, having a roll up with his friends. Yeah,
shooting the breeze.
Because he likes to play cards, doesn't he? Having a couple of games of cards after golf or something. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd think that, but anyway, fair play to him. So
legend.
1993 German Masters win. After that, the form started to slightly dip. And why do you think that happened? Because obviously you were so good. You became similar to Weiwei, to be honest.
Yeah.
He became very, very good. He was second youngest player playing the Ryder Cup, etc., etc. And you became very, very good. I wouldn't say very quickly, but you carried on going from your amateur career to your pro career seamlessly. Just moved on. Why do you think it started to kind of go off? Talking about longevity in a career.
Yeah, I didn't.
In
hindsight, I'd have done more flexibility. I think I lost a bit of flexibility. My swing changed a little bit. Like anybody, it evolves. Because when you play your best golf, you just stick with that. But as we know, you can't. That's why you go through phases of great golf and okay golf and bad golf. So my swing changed, and I just lost my way a bit technically. I thought I got the club behind myself, but all I did was I was very fast from the lower half and shallowed out at the top and kept the club in front of myself. So I kept working on getting him all behind, and I made it steeper in a lot of ways. So I was always trying to jam my swing in and hit it from the inside. So then I was getting less body turn, more hands.
Yeah.
But my super confidence kept me okay for 2 years. I was still okay. I can't remember 70 odd or 60 odd in the order of merit. And then eventually that went away, and then I just fell off a cliff. And then I got coaching of various guys, and they told me exactly the right things to do. But I I started feeling my backswing, and that was the end, really. So my whole golf, I never felt my backswing until I started getting serious coaching, flattening my swing off and things like that. Then I could feel my backswing, and then I couldn't hit the ball at all. And then I got very conscious and very feely. The game for me was always about the downswing.
Yeah.
Because I had my upright swing across the line, but then I'd go really fast with my hips and legs. That's all I really needed to do to get it back. I think because I got fatter, less flexible, I got a bit slow, my legs and hips. So I was coming in a bit steeper. So I thought, jam it in behind, get it more shallow, come from the inside. But I didn't really swing like that. And that's the top and bottom of it. And then once you lose technique, confidence goes eventually.
Yeah.
And then off I went. And then I went into some dark times, really, playing golf. Managed to go back to tour school, got through 3 times. But played rubbish, and then eventually I lost my card. And in a lot of ways, I was glad it was all over, because it was starting to hurt a lot. Struggling and not missing cuts, as we know, is an absolute nightmare as a tour pro.
Yeah. So he was hurting a bit physically or mentally, or both?
Both, everything really. Yeah, maybe not physically so much, but mentally it hurt. I had some dark times away from tour, because we always think about golf all the time.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay. It's part of the sport. It's never plain sailing. When you're playing great, you have ups and downs, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I always used to say, the thing about being a tour player, it's all very well missing the cut. People think, you go home and have the weekend off. Or when you miss the cut, you just want to work harder, don't you?
Yeah, you go and practice. Yeah, and sometimes you work too hard. Something I wish I hadn't done was I practiced more and more when I was playing bad. I wish I practiced more and more when I was playing great. Yeah. The opposite way around.
Yeah, but
I was trying to flatten my swing off, which was fine. It was technically the right thing, but it just didn't suit me.
Yeah,
I never quite have. My mind never went to. When you change, you must take your mind with it. If you're going to change your swing, your mind's got to be invested. And my mind wasn't invested. It was still wanted to be upright and fast moving and hit the ball hard. So it didn't suit me in a lot of ways. But I don't blame anyone. It was me that messed it up.
So
I just wish it lasts for 8 years instead of 4, the brilliant golf, and that would have been great.
Yeah.
The excitement and the buzz, I missed that. The thing I missed the most was being able to hit the ball good, even if I was playing socially. Such a wonderful feeling hitting the ball good, and even going out and shooting a good score and ripping it and hitting great shots. And, that's why I always played the game. The excitement of that was and the best time of my life was when I kept improving. As you know, as you come in, you're young, you're coming up and you start getting better and better. There's no better feeling than that in golf, is there?
No. Well, I think in all sports, isn't it? I mean, the greatest sports people are always trying to, even when they're getting a bit older, they're always trying to find something, aren't they?
Yeah, they're always trying to improve, and I think that's what you must do.
Yeah.
Maybe after 4 years of playing great golf, I didn't think about improving. I thought, this is okay, just keep it going.
Yeah.
But my way of improving would be to get technical coaching, and that was no good for me. My dad worked on fundamentals, good posture, good grip. But even though I strengthened my grip up a bit, so I'm guaranteed not losing it down the right. Still hook. A bad shot was a hook for me.
That was the
I didn't believe in coaching too much. I used to remember in the early days, I used to think the boys practice too much on a Wednesday. They're having too much coaching on a Wednesday. I used to believe in that. I think that that if you're getting coaching at a tournament on a Wednesday, it's too late, isn't it?
Well, I mean,
in some ways,
if you're getting coaching at a Wednesday, you're struggling with your game, aren't you? Because if you're playing well, you don't want to be hearing someone telling you, you should trying to do this, trying to do that. It's just a waste of time. Well, it's just put self-doubt in your mind that the coach thinks something's wrong, don't they?
Yeah, you'd have thought a great coach is a guy that some weeks says swinging great and leaves it at that.
Yeah. Even if he doesn't, on a Wednesday, even if he doesn't think that, it's going back to the mental. They're trying to give confidence, really, isn't it? So,
100%.
So just going on from that. So when you look back over your career, which you're still playing on the seniors tour now, and I know you still love the game, and you're. I mean, I've seen you at tournaments, and we've spoken. Everybody's always trying to play better, aren't they? And But overall, would you have done anything differently in your career? I'm just really kind of trying to establish if there were some young guys kind of listening. You obviously had 4 or 5 great years. You played with the best players in the world. Overall, would you have done anything different? Clearly, you wouldn't have done much different from like 1989 to 1993, would you?
No, we didn't really have the cameras, the slow-mo cameras and things, did we? And the coaching was different back then. It was a lot on feel, wasn't it? Ball flight.
Yeah.
I just didn't get a blueprint and always go back to it. you know what your best swing is. You know, video your golf and everything when you're at your best, and always attempt to work back to it. I know you change physically, we all do, and it's not so easy to go back to your blueprint. Sometimes you have to adapt because you get a bit slower or you're not as strong. But having said that, the boys that work out so much now, we didn't do so much of that in our day, did we? It was a Tuesday night, go to the bar, and Wednesday have a good practice session, and then Thursday away we go.
I think what not only in golf but with all sports, that's why the careers, going back to Langham, that's why the careers are getting longer, isn't it? Because the nutrition, the fitness. I mean, when we started, there wasn't a physio truck on tour, was there? And
no, it was Langer who got that, wasn't it? For the tour.
Yeah, and they've got.
And it's no coincidence that he's still going amazingly well, and he's always done physio. He's always kept himself in great shape. Yeah. That'd be the things I would change: was know my blueprint, technique-wise. Yeah. Stay fitter, and do things like yoga or Pilates or something. Keep yourself flexible.
Yeah, because I mean,
I do a bit of stretching now, but everything aches now, Jay. It's just a case of getting to the point where I can move a bit. You know, I've got aches and pains like any golfer. We've worn our bodies out to an extent.
Yeah,
we've played since we're little boys, and we're still going at 55, aren't we? Type thing.
Yeah. I mean, that was the thing. I stopped playing. My back was so bad at 36 and that. And I was saying to on the previous show with Linny, you know, one of the things that made my back hurt when I was practicing, and I couldn't practice much, was ironically putting, because it's such an unusual position just to stand there, you know, bending from the waist over, and you know, the physios and that tell you, or people should tell you, you know, you should never stand like that. Stand, you know, more athletically. Putting is not a good posture for your back, but hey ho. So there you go. So just a couple of other questions, really. First of all, I've asked the other two boys so far, your views. I mean, you mentioned Greg Norman earlier, being one of your heroes. What's your kind of views on what he's trying to do? Well, what he's trying to do with the investment from the Saudi Arabians and trying to create a new golf league. Do you think there's room for it, or do you think the PGA Tour are right in trying to block this? Or just briefly, what's your views on it?
I think it's great that the players have got the opportunity to earn that money. I don't think the PGA Tour should have a vice-like grip on the sport. I believe in modern times the players should be free agents. If they want to go and travel and play somewhere else, they should be allowed to do it. I understand why the tours do it, and they want to keep their best players. It's like the European Tour. We need to keep our best players. I think it's good for golf, and I love the fact that lots of our boys are making loads of money. You know, it'd be great if we had lots of guys worth hundreds of millions, billionaire golfers. Why not? You know, it's our sport, and it's great to see the young players making fortunes. So I think it's a positive on that front. Hopefully it does take off eventually, and it gives people options and things like that. But the way it's heading at the moment, it looks like it's going to struggle. Yeah,
I mean, I think that, you know, as you say, the PGA Tour have had a grip on golf, and you know, there's 3 majors in America. The World Championship events, they're all kind of in America. And, you know, if they start creating some big events, you know, they tried, the President's Cup's been to Australia and South Africa a couple of times, but never really taken off these big events. And, you know, tennis has their majors are around the world, where it just seems like everything is in America golf. And I personally think it's a good thing, as long as it doesn't degrade the majors and the big events. I think there's room, and it gives more people more chance to make a name for themselves.
Oh, 100% right. Yeah. And the thing, obviously, it's aimed at the stars of the game. Yeah. So it's aimed at the top 30 players in the world, isn't it? That's their aim, is to get hold of those guys.
Yeah, but it will help the lower tournaments, you know, escalate into becoming bigger tournaments, and it gives more. And there's so many more people trying to make a living at playing golf these days, and the more chances, the more opportunities. Surely it's a good thing for the game. That's my view on it.
And hopefully, like you say, a load of the money will trickle down to the Challenge Tour, to the smaller tours.
Yeah, exactly.
And help those guys, because there's a lot of guys out there battling. Everyone thinks pro golf's a gravy train. You make loads of money, but it's not. There's a lot of guys really struggling, fighting hard, trying to make a living, trying to get on the tours. Yeah. And it'd be great if a lot of this money was filtered down.
And a lot of those guys are very, very good players, and because the strength and depth in golf these days is so high, but also, you know, they're very, very hard workers as well. Going back to practicing that, people say, oh, well, because he's not doing any good, he clearly, you know, he's not practicing enough or whatever. But some of the people who don't do quite as well work harder than anybody, don't they? They just don't have that kind of natural talent that some players have. I mean, there's no doubt you need some hand-eye coordination, and you need a bit of talent to make it right to the top.
Yeah. As we know, most of golf's application.
Yeah.
But there are some guys who've got more flair, they've got better pair of hands. They can do things that other guys can't do. And they're often the special players.
Yeah. That's
not everyone's gifted with that, but we've seen some great workhorse golfers have amazing careers. There's guys I used to think I was so much better than, and they've gone way past me without.
But also, you would also, when we were playing as amateurs and when we started, you'd also see some people who used to work so hard and never got on tour.
Yeah, well, you used to practice hard, didn't you?
Yeah, but I mean,
you're a great putter as well. That was one thing. You were always hitting balls and practicing. I used to love playing more. I would practice, but and that's something you rub off. Think, well, maybe I need to go and hit some more balls like J-Rob and some of the other lads who are better players than me. So you learn, don't you think?
Yeah.
Well, I'll put an extra hour in on the range rather than do my half an hour warm up. I'll practice for an hour and a half and hone my skills, and then I used to get them on my Walkman on and, listen to music and hit balls, and psychologists say it's not the best thing to do. But I used to get, love doing stuff like that, and that made time pass. All of a sudden, you've been out there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and it's a good session.
Yeah. But the other point I was kind of making was, and I won't name any names at all, but you would know some of the people as well. Some of the guys, they practice all day and they do everything possible to be better players. But they just didn't become better players, and that was just
it's too much. It's too much. It's about quality, isn't it? And you've got to preserve your body, especially as a tour pro. And you start traveling, playing a lot. You can't be smashing balls non-stop.
But I think
you've got to keep fresh. At some point, it's a warm up, isn't it? You're going once the first round comes, it's a warm up. You might do an hour afterwards if you're not happy, or half an hour. And then Friday's the same, Saturday's the same. You're just warming up for the round. You've done all the hard work at home months before. If your hard work's going on Wednesday, I think you're in trouble as a tour pro.
But I think as well, it's interesting what you say about when you were playing your best, the confidence you had, and like the inner belief you had. Dave Lynn was the same. He was saying how he worked a lot with Dr. John. You remember Dr. John?
Yeah, I saw Dr. John for a little while. It's good.
It's interesting that, and Lee said he was a bit of a DIY man. He never really had any coaching. But both of you, the thing that's come out of it is about the mental side of the game is obviously so important, or was so important, especially when you get to the top level.
Yeah, and I think it's important to be resilient. You're just learning all the time. That you learn as much from the downs as you do the ups.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's okay. Whatever happens to you in the sport, it's okay as long as you go with a positive attitude.
Yeah.
And a good pre-shot routine. The outcome is fine. If you do everything right and it goes wrong, it's okay. It's when your mind's negative, tight, and you hit a bad shot, that's when it really hurts. I've always been fine. If I've gone up to a shot, I'm going to hit a great shot, I'm going to hit it hard, I've picked my target, I'm going to do whatever I want, and if it doesn't work, it's cool. But it's when you feel all tight and tense and nervous and scared, don't go out of bounds, don't do this, do that, that's when you're gone at the game. It's an awful feeling. It's time to stop playing when you think like that.
Well, I always used to think, and I say to, a couple of young people, whatever, if you're going to hit a bad shot, at least commit to hit a bad shot. Commitment to every shot. If you hit a bad shot, but you've committed to the shot you were trying to do, that's fine. And
always ask for wonderful things. I used to big it up, like make it exciting, fireworks. I remember one time in Italy when Richard Boxer won the Italian Open 1990, I hit every single drive out in the middle of the club and down the fairway. The only time I've done it in my life. And I was walking back to the tee sometimes. I was so pumped up. I was thinking, I'm going to smoke this down. I'm going to unbelievable drive. I'm going to rip this. And then I got on the tee and I just swung smooth at it, and it went down the middle like an absolute exocet rocket. Unbelievable. It's the only time I've ever driven like that in my life. But I was getting euphoric walking back to the tees as it was going on. I was thinking, this is unbelievable. I can't believe how good this is. This is special.
And it was all that's controlled by your positive mental attitude.
That was vivid, excited, adrenaline mind with a calm body all the time. But I used to suggest amazing things. I'll roll this putt and I'll birdie the next 3 holes, and it didn't happen all the time. But I used to chuck things like that in all the time. Now make this 10-footer for a par, and I'm going to catch fire. I'm going to do amazing things and suggestion. But then, as we know, you always come back to the shot, don't you? As you walk up, you switch on to that given shot.
Well, that's the great thing. As I was saying before, there's a lot of dead time in golf, as I would call it. When you bad, and your mind can play tricks on you. You have great images, as you rightly say. But one of the keys to it is keeping those great images and not going too
Yeah.
Starts having bad thoughts.
Yeah. When I started struggling, I became a self-saboteur, really. I'd suggest bad things to myself as time went on.
Yeah.
And I didn't do any of that from probably when I started golf till I was 30, sort of thing, late 20s.
Yeah.
Then I'd chuck things on. You're going to knock it out of bounds here as I'm walking back to the tee. And it went total full circle on me.
Yeah. And that's where a good.
Yeah, I was okay when I got over the ball. It was out there. But once you start putting these powerful things in your head, I'm not a good visualizer. I feel everything and verbalize it. So I talk in my head and feel golf. I can't actually see too much of the ball flying or anything.
Yeah.
So whatever I said to myself was very powerful when I was playing golf.
Yeah. I tell you what, it's so windy outside at the moment. You'd have to be strong in the head today.
Yeah. That's when you've got to be resilient. Keep fighting. Tell yourself you love being out in these conditions, Rob, isn't it? Yeah. Even though you know you're telling lies to yourself.
Yeah.
These greens are the best I've ever putted on the Gary Player scenario. Best of their kind.
Yeah.
You just got to, it's a lot of mind games goes on, isn't there?
No, without doubt.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So the next thing, just to move on from that, a couple of quick fire questions. So you got to keep the answers short here. So are you ready? Favorite course you've ever played?
Sunnydale Old.
Nice. The favorite major championship that you played in, which one was it?
Augusta. Masters.
Masters. Okay. So you made the cut in all 4 majors. Which was the best round of golf you played in a major?
It was probably in '92. I shot 66 second round at the USPGA, playing with Nick Price.
Where was that
at? Bellarive.
Right.
That was my lowest score and probably the best I ever played.
Yeah. Okay. And that was playing with Nick Price, was it?
Nick Price. Yeah. We played with Ken Green, and I know you're on quick fire. And we played 9 holes, and he was about 3 over. He said, "I've had enough, lads. I'm going in." He just walked off the course. 2 holes later, an official comes out. "What happened to Ken? Where's he gone?" He didn't tell anyone. He just jumped in his car and drove home. Seriously? Or drove back to the airport. Yeah.
Did he? But,
yeah. So I played a 2-ball with Nick Price for 27 holes, sort of thing.
I know it's only quick fire, but just moving on. Nick Price, what a striker of the ball he was.
Yeah, great compressor, great noise. Yeah, I played quite a bit. I lost to him in the World Match Play. I played with him at USPGA, played with him in Zimbabwe. Yeah. Great man, lovely man as well, top boy.
Yeah, I remember watching him practice at Lake Nona when he was having coaching with David Ledbetter, and I was there when I just finished at college. And I mean, what a striker of the ball he was.
Oh, yeah. And another one from his mate, Mark Minotti, hit the ball short, but what a noise he made on the club as well.
Yeah, but
it might have been not very powerful, but they had that compression on the ball. It was great.
Yeah, but he could putt McNulty, couldn't he?
Oh, unbelievable, yeah. So, Nick Price, an incredible player for a while, wasn't he? World number 1, 3.
Yeah, so the last quick fire one, so we didn't go, well, we've got 2 more quick fire. We weren't very quick fire on that one, but there you go. The best round of golf that you've ever witnessed when playing with someone in a tournament. Obviously, your 66 is the best round of golf you've ever witnessed, but if it was from someone else, who would it be?
Oh, God. That's how self-absorbed tour pros are. I can't remember too many.
Clearly, it wasn't Ken Green.
I didn't play with lots of guys. I'm trying to think guys that won that I played with. Frank Nobilo shot a great round at the Lankan one time, about 66, 65. I partnered him in the last round. That was impressive. Yeah. There must be better ones out there somewhere. I must have played with guys that shot on amazing scores. I'm trying to think. I'll have to come back to that one, mate, in the future.
And the final quick fire one, favourite city you visited in the world when playing?
Melbourne.
Nice, very nice. Good answer to that one. So in summing up, thanks very much for coming on. It's been fascinating listening to what you say about the mental side of the game, and you're moving so easily really from amateur golf to pro golf, and obviously still you're playing the seniors tour, and I know you still love the game, and you're a bit like me really. You'll carry on playing till the day we go.
Yeah, exactly, J-Rob. Yeah, the only time I stop is if I'm hitting a driver on a 180-yard par 3 and can't reach. I think I'm going to hang them up in the garage then.
Yeah,
I don't ever want to go on the green tees. It's not for me, that bit, I don't think.
No, I can't see that happening now in the next few years, mate. So what we've been doing, we've been kind of getting one or two the guests to pose a question for the next guys who are on. The next guy on is not an ex-player, but an ex-coach, Gary Nicklaus, and his pal Carl Morris. So if you were going to ask either of them a question, what would you ask Gary? Because obviously Gary coached on the tour for quite a long time.
Yeah, can they take a 7-year-old young golfer and turn them into a world superstar? And how would they do it?
Wow, there's a question for you.
Yeah.
Now, in answer to that one, I remember, and I can't remember the bloke's name. Some guy came out on tour once with Roger Winchester, our pal Winch, and he sat, and I'll never forget it, being in Madrid, and he sat there and he said, "I can take a 7-year-old kid and I can make them win a major championship." And we all sat there and went, "That's some
exactly, yeah." That's why I thought that's an interesting question to see how they would model the young player.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting question. Do you think it's possible or not?
No, I think golfers are born, aren't they?
Yeah,
the real good ones. Yeah, you just got something slightly different. Maybe the way you think, maybe what you like physically, maybe with your touch and feel. And a lot of players have got so much bottle as well. I wasn't great with bottle. I had to sort of learn to have bottle. Where some guys have got it in abundance naturally.
Yeah, because Linney was saying, he was saying about the mental side of it, and going back to a 7-year-old kid, could you coach someone? I mean, Tiger Woods clearly was coached from a very young age to be great, and clearly he was great, or is great, and still is great, and whatever. You can't say enough superlatives about him. But there must be thousands of kids around the world whose fathers have been a bit like that. The Venus Williams and Serena, that was another kind of one, wasn't it? But you and I
watched that film. That was good. King Richard, really good. Yeah.
You and I saw it when we were amateurs. There was plenty of people. Again, names won't be mentioned. Where the fathers and the parents and coaches are kind of living the life through the 15, 16-year-old kids. And I don't think it's possible. But be interested to see what Carl Morris's view on that is, because he's more of a psychologist.
They could potentially do it if they get young junior golfers, those two together, couldn't they? A psychologist and Gary, a top coach.
But they'd have to have a bit of luck to get the right one, wouldn't they?
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. How'd you pick them out? It's not always the guy who's the best player when he's 12, 14. It's what you like anywhere between 19 and 23, really, as a golfer.
Yeah, I mean,
some guys stop improving and some keep getting better, like a Lee Westwood, for example.
Yeah,
played in the England team. He obviously got better than a lot of his peers and became world number one.
Yeah, exactly. So some people take to professional golf, don't they? And some don't. I mean, you get overachievers and underachievers, don't you?
Yeah, 100% right. Yeah.
So anyway, so that's interesting. So I'll ask the boys that, and it'd be interesting to see what their answer is to that. So just summing up, mate, thanks very much for coming on. It's been fascinating listening to your views and everything. And so you've obviously recovered from Mauritius and got over the shock of being in the rain.
12 holes,
yeah, 12 holes. So,
yeah, such a shame for the tour, for that to happen.
But anyway, that's the way it goes. So anyway, but I say thanks very much for coming on, and I'll catch up with you soon. And if I don't see you before the end of June, I'll see you at Blackwell for the Seniors Tour Pro-Am, supporting the Grace Kelly Children's Trust. So say thanks very much for coming on, and we'll catch up soon.
Thanks, Jay Rob. It's a pleasure, mate.
Cheers,
always
mate.
Great to talk to you, buddy. Take care.
Bye.